I'm Don with Bay City Car Meet, and this is another Car Meet Garage. We're sitting with our buddy Jake. Thanks for having us in the shop, Jake.
Yeah, here we are.
In Classic Daily.
Yeah, in the biz.
In the biz. So we'll mix it up a little bit, and I'm going to ask you, what inspired you to go into business for yourself, and kind of where did you start?
So I was a school teacher. Well, I've always liked cars. My dad, we've known each other forever.
Yeah.
So my dad's liked cars, and that's kind of what got me into it. But I taught band. I taught music for a long time. And the first summer, this is a story. So I bought golf clubs. So I'm like, what do you do in the summertime? You go golfing. I bought golf clubs. I went golfing twice. I'm like, this is stupid. This is a waste of time. And I bought a lift in my garage. So then I started building cars for other people just because I had done it for myself. And they're like, hey, I want that same thing. So I built 4 cars for a guy in Arkansas. Like, he just shipped it, he just sent me cars. This is while I was still teaching. And then I built a car for a guy in China, and then our guy just kept kind of getting bigger. And then I went, progressing. And then I went part-time teaching, and then I'm like, well, I better quit my job. And here we are, 10 years later.
I still remember, I think I ran into you when you were telling me that, I quit teaching and now I'm doing this, because you originally had the shop over in over by it wasn't technically Essexville, but it was over in that area.
Yep. The old buildings by Hooligans.
Yep, and now you're in this giant.
Yeah, so now we're over here. So my cousin and I we rented that together. He's out in the lawn business, and we own this now.
I'm splitting two, and we walked over there to find you, and he's doing his thing over here, and we're like, oh, well, look, this is the cool side, right? Because it's just lawnmowers over here, and we have BMWs and is it a Mazda?
That's a Triumph.
A Triumph?
Yeah.
Speaking of Triumph, because we've known each other since elementary school, doing RC cars together. You kind of got me into RC stuff back in the day, and then you had a Triumph Spitfire in high school. Yep, that was a cool car.
So that was like the first. So I had it when I was 14. Like my dad, I think we bought it out of a junkyard, and it was, so then we redid it, and then I drove that car junior year and senior year, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
somewhere like that. And then I mean, that was supposed to be the first car, but it was never done. Yeah,
because you had that, and I was rocking the Chevette, and Jamie Clements had the RX-7.
Yep.
Had that. That's an FC. Yep. Those are all cool cars too. That was a non-turbo, whatever, but. That was a fun time to be alive. Less stress.
I think any time is a good time to be alive.
Well, that that is
never
very true.
Not a good time to be alive.
Right in front of the moment that it's not.
Yep, exactly. That's right. So you have Triumph. So I mean, that thing is a local guy, and he was like, he didn't have anyone to do it. So like, I like building these cars, but a lot of it's more of building. It's stuff that people won't do, or it's it's a lot of like. It's people's memories, and they're like that. We're talking about, when we're kids, I'm like, you look back of having, the Chevette and the RX-7, and like, they're all stupid kind of, or like, Shorb had, had a Cavalier.
Oh, yeah.
And like, all these, it was fun. I mean, like, that's the whole point.
It kind of got us into it a little bit, like, got our feet wet a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, because your dad had the white car.
So he still has that. So he's got a Avanti.
He still has the Avanti. That's such a cool car.
Yeah, so he's had that since '89. But he's had lots of. I mean, he had a '79 Corvette that I drove in high school for a while. I mean, he still has the Avanti. That's what he still he still has that. He's had that again since '89.
Okay, that's such a cool car.
Yeah, it's such a weird. It's a Studebaker. I mean, it's a weird car.
Right, because the Studebakers were made in Michigan, right?
South Bend, Indiana.
Oh, in Indiana. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because that's one of the cars that stuck in the back of my mind growing up, and like getting in the car hobby is, Mr. Barkel's Studebaker. That was such a cool car. Just to see is something different. You don't see all the time.
Very different. Because it was an American car, but not. It was strange.
Right. I'm just going to make a giant assumption that your dad is a huge reason why you got into all this too.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely that's why I kind of started, and then he says that I've taken it now to like the next level.
This is kind of next level, because you were talking about where we're going to shoot, and we're like, well, do you want to sit in front of the lifts or sit in front of the dyno? I was like, well, dynos are cool.
Yeah. Yep. It's fancy toys.
So, and even with Bay City Car Meets, we have the dyno days out here, and lots and lots of good footage, which I'm sure I'm going to completely force Greg's hand on editing here. There's lots of dyno holes everywhere.
just Rex's truck exploding.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, Rex's truck. Yeah, that was definitely a cool one. So, is there any cars well, actually, I should ask, what is your niche market in this? Because I know you do a lot of LS swap stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, we mostly do BMWs. Like that's what the business is built around. And you know, people do all different stuff. I mean, people build race cars, people build other race cars. But I mean, the business is classic daily, so I want to build a car that you're going to take your kids to get ice cream with. Like that's the point. Like something that you're going to drive all the time. So we do mostly 1970 to 1991 BMWs. That's where I want to stay. But sometimes it ventures a little bit newer than that. But that's where I like to be. That still analog and not, you know, there's not a lot of computers in them yet.
When you still have the driving with your touch.
Yeah, they still feel like it feels like a machine.
Right, you know, not sensors driving it.
Yeah, and there's a good chance it might not get you there.
Like, there's a good chance.
Like someone's gonna break or something.
Yeah, but you can fix it on the side of the road.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yes.
So without a laptop.
Yep.
Well, so there's a lot of stuff you do with the laptop because you do tune my stuff.
Yeah. So like we had like his LS stuff. So we put.
Right.
I mean, we don't do lots of LS swaps right now. I don't think there's any LS swaps happening. Yeah, they're all BMW, pretty much all BMW into BMW, except there's one Honda into BMW. There's one K24 into a car, but we've done lots of. I like taking the old feel and putting the bits of modern that are good.
It's a cool combo because people like, you know, like even we're at the age now that we can look back and we were just talking about like our first cars. Like I can, you know, you go pick up even I'd like to try to find at this given juncture like an older Chevette and do something cool with it because you know, that's the car I drove in high school was an '83 Chevette scooter. Yeah, like it was like a scooter, and you know, and you had the Spitfire, and that was a super cool car.
Yeah, and I actually bought. There was one. I bought one. What was that? Maybe 4 years ago. I bought one. It was 4 or 5 years ago. It was down the road, and it was like the site was for sale. It was like $800. I mean, I bought it. I'm like, and it was a pile of. I mean, it was a piece of junk. But you know, but then you know, it had no top. You know, like I drove it maybe 10 times. I'm like, this is stupid. And I sold it. But still, it's that like, it's the memory of
the nostalgia feel.
Yeah. So like, having a Chevette, you know, kind of reminds you of like all these cars. I mean. Then in high school, I drove a 91 BMW. Like my senior year, that's what I had. And that's what kind of started all of this. I mean, that's because I had that car through college. And I mean, I don't have that particular car, but I still have cars that are like that.
Right. You're even walking into the shop and it's just a sea.
Yeah. It's all old BMWs.
It's super cool. So people are always going to ask, and you know, that I don't get hung up on it as much because older. Everybody likes to see the dyno stuff. But how many cars do you build? Does every car you build see the dyno? No, not really. I mean, it depends what, you know, now more and more do because we have it, but not everything does. I mean, it just depends on what it's for. I mean, some of the like sometimes you see the power numbers on.
I mean, we still do, yeah. Like there's like that one. Oh, you can't see it, but it's over there. So that's going to get a V12. So that'll for sure get dyno because that'll get tuned. That'll get V12 and then probably turbo. Like the guy's on the edge if he's in a turbo or not. And he's like, well, I want to do it, but maybe later. I'm like, if you don't do it later, just do it now. Like this is, you know. So
yeah,
that'd be, you know, V12 with boost.
That'd be super cool to see on there. We have to swing by and see that one.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
So do you have any bucket list cars?
No, not really. I mean, like I said, like 90s BMW. So, I mean, I have way too, I mean, we all end up buying too much stuff. I think I have 12, maybe 9. I don't know. I actually have no clue how many I have. So, I think I own my bucket list cars now, like mid 80s BMWs with turbos, or, you know, that are modified and kind of shitty.
Not bad, though.
And kind of shitty looking. Like I don't need a perfect car.
You know, we ran into that more often than I thought we would, that people are like, I don't want to drive a perfect car because I don't want to worry about it. And I was expecting more people to be like, when I asked that question, to be like, I want a Ferrari.
Yeah.
You know how many times we've heard that I want a Ferrari is my bucket list car? Zero.
Yeah.
Not one person is on their bucket list cars has said we've had Ford GT, which we've seen one of those over Brian's shop, and we've heard C6 ZR1, and we've seen that, and we've seen Camaros and everything else. We've never had anybody say Ferrari or Lamborghini
something super
or
fancy.
Maserati. Right. I figured 100% by now in 20-something that we've done that we'd see Ferrari or something like that. At least
I want a
once.
Ferrari.
Oh, see, and this is, I'm glad, because every time someone says that, we ended up interviewing somebody that
No, I don't
has
want
a
a Ferrari.
No, it's okay. Yeah. Well, now you took the karma away. Thanks, Jake.
Yeah. Maybe you'll get something. No, I'm pretty happy with what like the projects are the fun part. I mean, that's like the next one is probably the one I want more. The one you look at.
You're not wrong, because even I catch myself looking at through Marketplace.
Yeah, of course. It's like
in buying crap that I've already owned.
Yeah.
Like I'm selling the Poverty Vet right now, and I have an offer right now sitting for a sedan Cobalt SS LNF car, a turbo car, and I'm like, man, I've owned 2 of those Cobalts, and I never had a sedan.
They have a sedan. They have a sedan.
Yeah, turbocharged force. It's
Really?
a 4-door sedan, and this one's got a bigger turbo on it. And this isn't about me.
Yeah,
It's still cool.
I've
I've had 2 supercharged cars, and they're super cool to have. But this is the LNF. Yeah,
I never knew they had a sedan version. That's cool.
Yeah, they didn't make a lot of them, and I was like, oh man, it's like one of those cars I always kind of said if it popped up that I kind of want to own.
Yeah.
So I think we're on the same page here.
Yeah.
That's why we're friends, Jake.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Terrible financial decisions.
Yeah.
That's why most of us are friends. So is there, do you have an automotive hero? As far as, say, anybody out there, another, we've had Stacy David, we've had Chip Food, like a Chip Food, Stacy David.
Honestly, no. I really don't follow that stuff, probably because I'm doing so much of my own stuff. We come from that generation of watching all those TV shows, Horsepower TV, like whatever Saturday. But when was it on? It was in the
Saturday and Sunday mornings.
I remember watching all that, but none of them I'm like, oh yeah, I like that guy. It was fun. That was kind of a part of it.
Jake, you are the hero.
Probably a little bit. I don't want to. I hate. I'm a pretty humble dude, but there are a lot of. That's just kind of my my thing. It's what I do, and I have a lot of people that. Fanboy-ish is kind of it's very odd. It's an odd thing. People are like, oh yeah, I go to BMW shows and people know who I am because I'm doing this I've been doing it full time for 10 years, but I've been doing it for 20 some years now as building parts and selling parts and stuff.
Dude, I go to AutoZone, they're like, you heard the guy in M13? And I was like, yeah, Jake, we've known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
Super smart guy. I was like, they're like, oh yeah, we got a guy who can tune LS stuff. It's like, yeah, we have the same guy.
Yeah,
That's who you're generally my go-to. I think I tag.
And AutoZone, we went to the key. I always forgot. In high school, Brian. Well, we went to high school with Brian.
Oh yeah,
he was a couple years after us.
Yeah, he was a couple years after us. Yeah, I think he graduated a year after my brother because his brother graduated with my brother.
Okay, all right.
So, but what is your favorite car memory you've had? Because you've been all over doing the BMW shows and stuff.
So probably, I think it's 2 years, let me think, not last year, the year before. So there's a show, BMW show we go to in North Carolina. It's called The Vintage. It's been going on for a long time. I've been to it probably 10 times. But 2 years ago, we drove one of my old a car like this, not this one, but a car that I've had for a long, long time. And I'm like, I haven't driven it in a long time. The engine was out of it. I'm like, I'm going to put something in it, and we're going to drive it down there, and we're going to turbo it in the parking lot.
That's super cool.
Yeah. So this was an engine a friend of mine had in he's like, oh, it's great. It's, it's a good runner. And I don't think it had ran in probably 10 years.
Yeah.
And I put this thing in. It may have had a slight rod knock, and we're like, I don't care. I drove it down there. I mocked up all the turbo stuff here, and we started at 7 o'clock. So then the day before the show, we started in the parking lot of the hotel. They have a big party where just people are hanging out, and we had a tent up, and we took the hood off, and we installed. People are walking around. We pulled the car apart and put a turbo on it in 2 or 3 hours, and people are walking by and we're drinking beer and hanging out and talking about stuff, and and then I think we finished it at 11:30 midnight, and then our Airbnb was 45 minutes away. So we had to drive, when we did very much stop drinking so we could drive. We then drove the 45 minutes, and Tim, the guy who works for me, he drove, and I was on laptop tuning the thing through the mountains of North Carolina. And then, that was a great thing. The next day, so the story continues. It's kind of long because it was a good weekend. So the next day we go to the show and I get to the bottom of the hill and the clutch master cylinder blows out and I have no clutch. So we had to put it in gear, start it, back up the hill, leave the car there and walk around the show to find parts because we're 12 hours away from home. We drove it, no trailer. And we had to walk. I walked around looking for a clutch master to put in this car. Nobody had anything no one had the same thing. I found a guy that had one that we thought was close. And so then it's raining outside. I have the car up on jack stands out in front of an Airbnb. I'm in my swim trunks laying under the car in the pouring rain, pull the clutch master out of it, or clutch slave out of it. And it's different, but the internals were the same. So we were able to pull them out and paper towel reamed out the old one, put it in, and then and we never made it to the show. The car never actually went to the show. And then the next day we drove, 800 miles back home.
There's a thought that counts.
Yeah, exactly.
You thought about
it.
Still successful, I would
correct,
say.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it was a phenomenal memory. I mean, people were taking pictures, and it was awesome. It was super fun. So that's probably the biggest car memory so far.
Yep. Is there anyone really close to you that you've met through the car community, I guess you could call it?
Oh, so many people. I mean, most of my customers end up becoming my friends. I mean, like my friend Bobby in Indiana I met him through cars, and he's probably one of my best friends. I mean, I'm going at the end of this week. I'm going to Texas to buy a truck. And I'm staying with a guy that I built a car for. Countless people that I still very much stay in touch with, and it's probably it's probably less about the car and more about that relationship. I mean, we have a 65 C10 that we are doing now, and that customer, Dan Davis is his name, and he I don't even know how he found us. Like I did a couple harnesses for him, and then he was like, kind of would come, and every time he came, he brought us lunch. He lived on our set of state, and he would bring us lunch, like smoked salmon, and he's like, anytime I travel, I carry a cooler with me to like have brotherhood with people. And then
it's a good way to get a good solid friendship going.
Yeah,
right?
It's awesome. And then so he's been very influential, and he died actually in February. We still have his truck. We're still finishing his truck for their family, but he had leukemia and throat cancer, and for 14 months he battled that. And he was
sorry to hear that.
It was terrible. Yeah, I mean, he was super big, part of my life and part of the cars and stuff that we do. And he even through while he was battling that, he would come and he would like contact us and talk with us. I mean, I talked to him 3 days before he died. Like he called me.
Oh, damn.
He was dying, and he's like, like I love you. Like, I mean, it was huge. I mean, so yeah, absolutely yes. I mean, like the cars are fun. I mean, that's kind of the excuse, but the people and like going to the meets and like all the stuff that like this over here. This is the point. I mean,
right.
I mean, at the end of the day, the cars are just stupid.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I mean, we just yell at them.
Right, we just yell at them.
When they get mad. I mean, they're fun. Obviously, they're fun.
But we talk to them like they actually listen to us, but they're just inanimate objects that can be replaced, to a certain extent. Yep. And it's the people that matter, really. It's
just an excuse. I mean, like going to the North Carolina, that show. This is like 600 cars. So there's thousands of people. And then I've met through this show that live all over the country that I talk to. And like I could say many times that I've went and I've taken one picture of a car but I can remember like talking
the
with
conversations,
all these people, and like talking about their families and what they've been doing, and like that's the eating tacos and having that's the fun part.
If the people are cool, that's what makes it. The cars can suck, and if the people are still good, I'm going to go.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yep. And we have this like bond where these stupid little old BMWs, we all like them, just like any marquee or any car. That's why we like-minded people.
You're not wrong. That's 100% why I think why we all do it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So whether people want to admit it or not, because some people it's about chasing the clout, but you're still getting out there and still meeting people, and you're going to if you don't make friends in this it's probably, as far as a hobby goes, I would say that it's probably one of the closest knit. Like we were just talking over at Mike's house at the last interview about, we've helped work on each other's cars so that other person can beat us.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's fun.
Right.
Yeah, like that, like the last dyno day, that dude, I don't know what he had. I don't think it made any power, but it broke the alter. Like, you know, he's like, I've never really got on it. I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna probably bounce the limiter. So, you know, I would do a pull, and then it throws the belt off, and then it broke the alternator housing. Like the alternator was all broken off, and and he's like, I gotta drive home. So then, like, I welded the alternator back together so he could get back, just because. Otherwise, he would have to, you know, who knows, he would have towed it or whatever. But it's, you know, it's those things that, like, that's
right. You've never been the guy to be like, oh, sorry about your bad luck.
Yeah, F
get
off.
out.
Yeah,
right.
Have
fun with that.
No, it's not the way.
Right, like, because I've had incidences here with my white car. You know, hey, Jake, I need to borrow this tool, or that you're actually the person that found when I ordered those plugs that the one wasn't even seated in the plug. And we were like, why isn't this injector firing? And, you know,
the crimp was bad or something. It wasn't stamped in all. Yeah,
right. You could have just gave me the finger and said, go figure it out, but you didn't. You sat there and you've helped us figure it out. I don't think we probably would have figured it out in a timely manner if it wasn't for your help.
Yeah.
So, but I do gotta ask, of all the cars you worked on at either shop, what's, as far as a customer vehicle goes, is there one that stands out the most that was like just a super fun build that made gobs of power, was the most fun to drive?
Man, let me think. There's so many, and they're all a little bit different. We've done a bunch of LS E36s or like 3 Series from the 90s. We did a yellow one. That car was fun. What is the best one? I got to kind of rack my brain a moment, and we can edit here.
If I can interject in, I know the story that you told me, that's my favorite.
Which one?
The one you built for the person in Vietnam or Korea?
The China?
Yeah, was that China? The one that they had to take it over boat,
that was
drive it through the mountains?
So that was crazy. So that was at my home. That was back when I was still at my house. I mean, that was, and I built a guy he's in China. He's in Shanghai. But so that one, and then when it was done, it's not like technically legal to have a modified car.
Right.
So he had to get it into China somehow. And the best method, we got stuck in Taiwan for a while, and then they took it into Vietnam, and he contacted me. He's like, oh, you know, this part is broken. And I'm like, okay, then, you know, get this thing. He's like, no, it's the driving up a mountain in Vietnam. And then he showed me pictures later of like the fuel filter looked like someone had taken a pipe and smashed it, and it was bent. The cats were flat. So that's a good story. That car was probably one of the coolest back at my house for sure, because it was like, I mean, the guy had unlimited money, and I was able to do whatever I wanted. So that was cool. I mean, they're all neat. Probably the one that I'm most excited about right now is a car like this. It's back behind the dyno cell with a Honda K24, because I think that'll probably might be my favorite.
It's going to sound awesome.
It'll sound awesome. It'll make these cars only weigh 2,000 pounds. It'll be NA, and it'll rev to 9,000 RPMs, and it'll make 230, 240 horse, something like that. And the guy, he's letting me do lots of crazy technological things. So that's cool. Like that
is super cool.
And it's going to be able to hold the power. So that one will be fun. I think that'll be my favorite.
So as far as your, because I know my choice, and it's 7. I just popped up on my time hop about when I got my Mega Squirt, and I went Mega Squirt after talking to you. Right now at this juncture, what's your favorite tuning like standalone?
So I actually sell them. So I mean, that's kind of my current one that I run on my cars, and I'm making more and more. It's the firmware is called Foam, F-O-M-E. It's based on RusCFI. It's an open source, kind of like Mega Squirt, tunes like Mega Squirt, but way more functionality, way more features, better processor, better hardware, blah 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 blah. That's what I like the most. But I don't really. I mean, they're all workable. They're all tunable. I mean, that's, you know, whatever is available. But that's the stuff that I like the best right now. And it's what I have standalones for multiple different cars coming out. So like I have plug and plays that I'm having produced overseas that that'll have my name on it.
I was going to say, even when we had the white car here, I think you were talking to us about that.
Yeah,
and
that one, or like
working.
Speedwino. Speedwino was kind of
Speedwino. Yeah, it's pretty cool too.
Yeah, the rusty foam is what I like the best. And the guys that are in it are like, I talk with them all the time. Like there's a group of dudes that are, I like them. So that's probably more important than the end goal.
Right, and if it's well supported too.
Yeah, exactly.
You're talking to the people who are making it. You know, it's well supported, then you get more support.
Yeah, exactly.
So instead of something that's I got nothing against Holly or anything like that,
Yeah,
but it's a pretty cookie. I mean, it works. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not. They're a good company, but it's not as like homegrown as like.
Yeah, and I'm sure, I don't know where. I mean, it got bought. I don't think Holly was. I think Holly was something else, like MSD Atomic or something. They bought something because it just like appeared, and here it was.
Right.
So, it was probably homegrown from someone.
Yeah, so someone definitely had to come up with it, right? Not
Holly. They just buy stuff.
They just buy stuff.
Which is fine. It's good. I mean, they got money and they can make it happen.
Right, and make it better. I mean, their stuff is pretty. It's pretty sleek. Like their whole design is pretty nice.
Absolutely. I've tuned a handful of those too.
So, is there anybody through the business and stuff or working on your projects that you'd like to thank?
I mean, the Tim that works for me. I mean, he's been with me for 10 years now, and that's. I mean, without him, then a lot of this wouldn't, happen. I mean, everyone that came before you're thanking, because I mean, my dad gave me all the information, and then and I've built up on that. So, I'd say probably Tim and my dad.
It's a pretty good list.
Yeah. Maybe your dad too.
Well, I don't know. I think I'm a lot too. I don't think I'm enough actually, but actually I'd like to sit down with him one of these. He still has his 78 Camaro and his 02 Camaro, and which we need to get him. You need to make a phone call to him and get that thing back going, because that 02's having issues.
Is it?
Yeah. So you didn't build it, but I think if you put a bug in his ear, he'll.
I think he's told me before, him and then also Gorney. You know Gorney?
Yeah.
Because they both have cars that are similar era built.
The low impedance injectors and with a driver. My dad's having issues.
Oh, it does?
with him.
Okay, so you get rid of that stuff and upgrade. But it was built probably 30 years ago, right? Or 20. I mean, it's
well, it's an 02. I think he built it in like 04 or 05.
Oh, really?
So yeah, he did have like no miles out when he built that car. It made over 1,000 horsepower back then, and I mean that was now with
old technology and now better turbos. I mean, they make more.
Yeah, way more. They made that on a P1SC or D1SC Pro Charger and nitrous.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a Pro Charge car.
Okay.
But so you have any socials, sir? Well, that's a dumb question, right?
Yeah. Classic Daily. I mean, all the different things. You can link them in the bottom. Instagram me, Facebook, YouTube's.
Right, and the most important question between you and I, because we're friends, is you're fork truck certified, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we had to make sure of that. Greg and I were talking about that. I was like, Jake hasn't made the joke about the fork truck yet. And John and I were telling me walking.
Well, you're not fork truck certified.
No, I actually am fork truck certified.
Yeah.
I'm certified to get hit by them, but
man, I can't admit that's
yeah, it is. That is whatever.
Yeah.
But dude, I want to thank you so much for having us in the shop. And make sure you like, share, and follow. Check out Jake's socials, and he does his YouTube thing too. And make sure you like, share, and follow his stuff too. Catch you on the next one, guys.